I was going to go to a retreat with Father David Michael Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to go to the house, to St. Faustina. That's when he was. And so, on my way there, Deacon Bill, our deacon here, he calls me. So I'm driving, going to the rectory at St. Faustina to meet Father David Michael Moses and drive to our retreat.
Was this morning or evening?
I was going to leave for morning.
Morning, okay.
Yeah, like 7 a.m.
Okay.
And so Deacon Bill said, Father, where is the tabernacle? I'm like, what do you mean, Deacon? In the church, it's not in the church. And I'm like, what? I said, well, let me go back immediately. So I come back, and I called Father David Michael's, like, hey, come to St. Bartholomew. I said, I think they stole the tabernacle. So I go, I open the door of the church, and emptiness. And I was about to cry. I was just, what's going on? And I go to all the possible places. Immediately, I said, well, if this was vandalism, then probably let's go to the trash cans.
Yeah.
And I went to all of them, the dumpster, everywhere. And it was not there. And so then, Father Christopher comes, and we had already called the police, so we were just waiting for the police. So we gave them our statements, and I told Father David Michael, I don't think we're going to go to the retreat. And Father Christopher says, like, no, like, praise God, like, I'm back, so please just go to retreat, pray. He goes, pray. Now you have another reason to go to that retreat, because pray for the whole parish that we may able to find, and but it was kind of, it was a good retreat, but I was just like constantly, like calling people, because people were calling me too.
Yeah.
And so it was just the first 3 days I was just like not having it. I actually wanted to come back. But so long story short, yes, they got the guy, and apparently what he had been doing, he was a young guy, and that's what he did. He would steal gold from like different places, churches, and it happened that one of our doors did not close properly, and I think he was in drugs, and he was just like playing around, like, let's see if this door is open, whatever. And it was open, and he goes, and the tabernacle was not bolted down. Now there's a reason because of that. When Father Christopher came, before Father Christopher came to this parish, there was a transition from the previous pastor to him with Father Nicholas. He was the vicar here, but there was no pastor. So he kind of did the same thing, like me by myself, but less time. And so when he came, the people said, last week the tabernacle went back to the little room behind the crucifix. So just kind of like, kind of apart, right?
Okay.
And people were angry about that. They didn't want the tabernacle to be moved, where it is behind the altar.
Okay.
But it was moved. And so the vicar is like, well, I don't think I can, just override what has been decided.
Yeah.
Because I think it was a committee or something like that. So long story short, the pastor, Father Christopher Plant comes, and the same thing. It's like, well, they did that, and let's just leave it there, And so when I came to the parish, there were already conversations to bring the tabernacle back to behind the altar. During the pandemic, we did that, especially because we were live streaming the masses, and we wanted people to see the tabernacle. Yeah. And so Father Christopher's like, somebody told me that somebody had built a special stand for it. And so we called maintenance, and maintenance said, like, no, I think by mistake we donated it.
Okay.
And so Father Christopher's like, well, then what can we do, for right now?
Yeah, temporarily.
So we found a pillar, and we just place it, and we place a tabernacle there, and we were going to build a special one.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how it is. I mean, it just time, and then the pandemic and all these things.
Yeah, the craziness of that year. Yeah.
And so, and then he left, right, sabbatical.
And
so,
you couldn't make that decision.
Well, yes. Yeah. And so, long story short, it was not bolted down, and it was so easy for this guy to just take it.